Welcome to the Student Voice on Air, a radio show written, hosted, edited, and produced by journalism and FTVM students at Moorpark College. The focus is on current news and issues, along with informative interviews. I'm your host, Steven Suarez, and on this week's edition, we will be featuring Leslie Kivett, Francisco Molina, Andrew Mason, and Casey Ahern. You're listening to 101.5 KMCJ Moorpark College Jams. We're going to shake it up a little bit today and get started right with the roundtable discussion.
So today we're talking about Proposition 51, which is a proposition that would, it's better known as the California Public School Facilities Bond Initiative, which would provide to the state a $9 billion bond to fund improvements and renovations to public K-12 schools, community colleges, charter schools, and a few other categories. Today we've brought on the most prestigious guest we could possibly get, ever. And that is our esteemed president, Luis Sanchez. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for the embellishment.
No, we're very happy to have you. It feels weird talking to you all like one-on-one because usually we have so much more people in here. But this would be an interesting conversation. So thank you for joining us.
I'll do my best to hold up my end of the conversation.
Let me give a little bit of background on Prop 51 just for the listeners. So it's supported by both Democrats and Republicans, and what it will make $9 billion of funds available for distribution among school facilities, like I said, K through 12, public schools, charter schools, and community colleges.
Hey.
It would be, exactly, which is why we're talking about it. It would be broken down to $3 billion for new school facilities, $500 million providing for charter schools, $3 billion for modernization of current school facilities, $500 million for career technical education programs, and $2 billion for acquiring, constructing, and renovating community college facilities. So that's obviously us. My first question for you, President Sanchez, is if we were to approve this bill on November 8th, what might some projects across our campus could our portion of that money be used for?
We have quite a few needs on our campus. We have a couple of facilities projects that are coming up in the very near future, one of which is the renovation of our gymnasium, which has been in dire need of renovation. We think we have the funds necessary to complete that project. This would certainly potentially give us some additional resources to help us with it. We also have an even more dire need to renovate our student center, or what's called the campus center. It's sort of a universal consensus that we need to
every single time I read a story about a new program on campus or handed a paper to a student who reads that story, their first question is, why aren't these funds going to the student center?
Absolutely. And what the first thing we need to do is to restore hot and healthy meals for our students and for our employees as well. And that student center, which has been long neglected, needs to be a vital place where students can hang out with each other. And we know that that's good. It's not simply a social need. We know that it also is good for student success. They gather together with their friends. They study together. Those connections are critically important to their success.
Especially students like me who are on campus for 12 hours a day.
Absolutely right. You bet. So that's another project. Our world-renowned zoo is in need of expansion.
Yeah, I heard about that. We just had a story about that the other day.
We did, yeah. They want to expand down the hillside.
And we have the land available. We don't have the funds in order to be able to put up the necessary enclosures. So that's another one. We have the student success, and what we call the student success annex, which is right next to the student center, where we've been adding new services for a couple of buildings that were long ago sort of taken out of active use, and we need to renovate those buildings as well. So we have quite a few needs on campus that we could use the additional support for.
No doubt. So one of the major concerns of this bill, in fact, a lot of the literature around it states that some of this money would probably be best used modernizing schools. So I wanted to ask you about some of the modernizations, I guess, in regards to safety, things like fire hazard, earthquake hazard, even things like asbestos, maybe. I don't think there's any of that left on the campus, but if there is, I'd like to.
Yeah, there's a building right next to the student center that part of our remodeling plans contemplate whether or not to simply raise that building. I don't know if you can picture it, but it's immediately west of the student center, and it's just vacant right now because it had a toxicity issue. I don't remember if it was asbestos or the specific type of toxicity, but it's otherwise a nicely structured manufactured building that could be put to use, but we'll probably have to raise that one because the cost of renovating it and clearing out the toxicity.
Is that the building Axis used to be in?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So no, it's right next to the Student Center. It's right across from the Forum if you have classes there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one example that comes to mind.
What about, say, earthquake or fire?
We think that we're fairly current on all of the earthquake and fire codes. I can't think of an imminent need that we have along those lines. But this is really collateral to your question, but I did just come from a meeting where the folks that were there were talking about their wayfinding committee, which they're on, where they're identifying ways for all of us to navigate the campus environment more clearly. But that's especially important for public safety agencies to be able to come onto our campus easily, know where the building is, that there's danger at, if it's a fire or some kind of active shooter, for example. We want them to be able to find their way easily.
Yeah, that's essential, especially if there's an immediate emergency.
Yes.
Getting onto campus might be difficult for, say, a large fire truck.
Absolutely right. Yes.
So I listed some of the supporters earlier. Just the list of groups who are against the bill is a lot shorter. Governor Jerry Brown is against it, and then the Libertarian, Green, and Peace and Freedom parties are all against it. But like I said, Democratic, Republican, and even Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom supports it. So it seems like of all the major groups, parties, individuals even, this bill has a lot of support. I don't know when these funds would be immediately available, but let's say we received these funds, next year, next May.
Yes.
How soon could we expect some of these improvements to be made?
I know it would take time. So, I'd sort of love to be able to utilize those resources immediately for the campus center renovation, if nothing else, of the projects we've talked about.
So how would it come down the pipeline? Let's say we get these funds.
There would be a prioritization process at the chancellor's office, and so that it's not automatic that our college would be in the queue early enough for my hopes. So it may be years before the funds are actually received, and then it's usually a couple of years to actually put them into effect and drop the architectural plans and go through the permitting process and the approval process, and then breaking ground and completing the job. So it may be that even if the initiative is passed, and we're hopeful on Tuesday of next week, that it may be a few years before we can actually realize the funds.
So is Moorpark College, I guess the board of directors or the college in general, are they generally in favor of this?
I have not polled the board of trustees, so I can't tell you the answer to that. I think that they are, but we haven't had an official polling, so I'm not sure.
Okay. It's worth noting that Californians already pay $2 billion each year back on state bonds for education. This bill, if passed, would add $500 million to that yearly payment by Californian taxpayers. Is that something that I guess either of you are concerned about?
I am. I consider myself a fiscal conservative, and so I tend to vote no on a lot of the bond proposals that are put forward to the voters.
Which would be a $17.6 billion bond to repay.
That's correct. And so, and I'm also mindful of the fact that Governor Brown's opposed to it. And Governor Brown's been a strong friend to the California community colleges and to and to education generally. So I'm a little bit. It's a little bit uncomfortable to be at odds with his position. But the needs are so acute that I'm certainly going to vote for it on Tuesday of next week, and I would encourage others to do so as well.
Very nice. Another something in researching, and I thought this was interesting. Proposition 1D back in 2006 issued a $10.4 billion bond. It was successful. 10 years ago, so just 10 years ago, we had a bond measure like this.
Yes.
And already we're considering another one.
Yes.
What's the concern that if we support this one, that 10 years from now in 2026 we're going to be adding another $500 million a year?
This is the one thing that I would say to console taxpayers about that, and that is that the community college system in California is the most efficient workforce of the economic engines in the state. We produce taxpayers. Our students go on to, and you've seen the press for Moorpark College in particular, and how our students go on to really successful careers. They become successful taxpayers, and they revitalize our economic fortune for all of us. So we think it's a good investment in the future of the state.
Yeah, it's a good investment for sure. I'm a student, so I kind of say education's great. I really want it to continue, but there is concern about it being starting to become a burden on the larger California economic system.
I do understand that. I'm a taxpayer myself, and
Yeah.
it's maybe why I'm a fiscal conservative. And I do think we have to be conscious of the effect upon taxpayers and not send them out of state. But on the other hand, you do have to measure what the value of what you're getting in exchange for what you're giving, and we think that we give a lot more than we're asking for.
Yeah, that's fair. Governor Brown calls the additional $500 million a year we might be paying a wall of debt. That's a scary term for any taxpayers out there.
It's a scary term in this election cycle as well. In many ways,
We're about to pass 20 trillion national debt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not unmindful of that. It matters to me a lot. I do think it's one of those good investments that, and we all in our personal lives take that into account. We don't want to take on debt unless that debt is to service a greater financial
Yeah, and
good.
education's a really important thing for investing in future profit and
Yes.
just future advancement in anything, because you look at the way, so many industries are going. There's no way that undereducated people would even be able to power a California economy 20 years from now.
Absolutely right. And consider the alternative for a student who wants to get a good job and a good career, and if they can't go to school toward that good job or career, the options aren't so hot and they end up being much more costly to taxpayers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but then now we're getting into Social Security support,
Crime,
for
welfare,
exactly.
jails,
yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, so that's
And those are things that we have to consider as students for this proposition as well, is, looking into the future. What are we taking on? I mean, I'm all for boosting education, like we were talking about. We're both students. We're both
that's
strong about education.
That's a good point.
But in the future, looking forward for us, are these debts that we're imposing now going to impact us?
So
in
the
future?
$17.6 billion that this would create in debt for us will be paid over 35 years.
Right.
So any student listening to this right now, you're going to be paying this for the large majority of.
But one of the reasons we took so much pride in that Huffington Post ranking last year that put us fourth in the nation among 1,300 community colleges is there's rankings and rankings, but
Right.
this one was based upon a return on investment analysis. So they
Right.
took the earnings of our
There
graduates.
have been a
and-
few studies that point to Moorpark College that way.
Absolutely right. Wallet Hub and PayScale, I think was the
Yeah.
most recent one, and divided into the actual cost of college. And it's good, not only good for our students, it's good for the economy and our taxpayers as well.
Well, President Sanchez, thank you so much for showing up and talking to us about this. It's a great honor.
Thank you. It's
And,
a pleasure, guys.
Thank you so
Lots
much.
to think about. This is 101.5 KMCJ, Moorpark College Jams. I'm Steven Suarez, and this is the Student Voice on Air. Here's Leslie with Campus News.
Hey, everyone. Happy Tuesday. How you guys doing?
Good,
I'm doing
man.
good.
November is here.
November.
Halloween.
Tired
is
after
over.
Halloween, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Crazy weekend.
You-
Nah,
A lot of
just kidding.
candy. Almond Joys.
The spoops are gone. Also over the weekend was our fabulous JACC, that is the Journalism Association of Community Colleges event. That was on Saturday, which Casey and I donated a Saturday to.
In Fullerton?
No, it was in Cerritos College.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we came back with 7 awards.
Boom.
Student Voice did, including ones for our own podcast producer, Sun Lee.
Ah,
Got
Small round of applause.
4th place in copy editing. Casey Ahern as well.
Woo!
Say something,
Yeah.
Case. All right.
I don't know what to say.
She got an honorable mention in copy editing. And for longtime listeners of the Student Voice on Air, Kayla Colon, who we had on last semester,
Yeah, I remember
she
Kayla.
won for her religious stigma opinion article, which we discussed, I think, last time she was on the podcast.
wow.
So not only was that a good podcast episode, but it got us an award. So congratulations to everyone who went to JACC. There were a bunch more awards. And finally, the Student Voice as a whole for our online presence received a General Excellence Award. So that's everyone on the Student Voice contributing to a good and quality news resource for our campus.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, good job, everybody. So one other thing that happened last month, just in October, the board of directors for the Ventura Community College District approved a raise for the new chancellor who will be hired next year. There isn't a chancellor right now, but the one that we're going to hire, they say close to February of 2017, will get a salary increase that ranges from what percentages, Casey?
It ranges from 17. So the salary increase amounts to a 17% to 32% increase over the current salary of $235,000.
Right.
How much money would that be then?
So currently it's $235,000 that this this
okay.
this hiree or the previous chancellor would receive. Now it could be up to $275,000 or $310,000 at the maximum amount of increase.
Wow.
So we're looking at potentially, what is that,
That's a
$80,000 increase?
A lower upper class income or a high middle class income.
So it's no joke here.
Right. So the AFT, that is the American Federation of Teachers, Local 1828, the teachers union that represents the teachers here on campus, is against this, saying that classes have been cut at an unprecedented rate on campus. Any classes with under 20 students is getting cut. That's a big change from what used to be 15 students, then the class would be canceled.
Yeah, there were 80 classes canceled this semester alone.
Wow.
So
That's a lot.
that's according to the vice president of the AFT, part-time faculty Renee Frazier.
And not only that, presidents of each college as well as vice chancellors for each college have all enjoyed raises in addition. AFT claims that this sort of shows that the board is more focused on paying their executives than providing a good education.
Yeah, so this could mean for Moorpark College students that your classes could potentially be cut now.
You probably know someone who was registered for a class that got
Yikes.
cut with how many that got cut. Yeah. So we'll be following up on this story as it continues, especially with the hiring process for chancellors starting up very soon.
Yep, I believe they're supposed to be hiring in February
Yes,
of 2017.
indeed. So, as another big change on campus, we all know our local police supervisor, Lieutenant Beckley, is being rotated out with a new representative. His name is Cesar Romero. We're going to have him come in right now and tell us a little bit about what he's going to do on campus. Hello, Cesar. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank
Thanks
you so
for
much
coming.
for
It's okay.
coming and stopping by. It's always it's really exciting whenever we get new faculty because we immediately want to hound them and ask them questions about who they are.
I see that, and you guys are pretty good at it.
Well,
I've been here 3 hours, and I'm already sitting here with you.
yeah, see?
Pretty good.
We're quick.
Yeah, we got you on your first day.
That's correct.
You've been in Oxnard for how long?
I've been in Oxnard for approximately 6 years, but I've been with the district for 13 years.
Wow, okay. That's a long time. Where were you before the district? Before
I actually
BCCT?
started my career at the district.
Oh, really?
But I had the pleasure to work for the city of Port Hueneme as a part-time police officer, where I gained a lot of experience because college policing is totally different from municipal policing, let me tell you. But
I imagine so.
yes, I love what I do. The college police is a family-oriented policing. You know, we're here to assist and help our students, staff, and faculty. And we're not running after criminals every day and every night when working at the city. So I'm really happy I'm here. And I did work at the city. I wanted to try it out to see if that was kind of what I wanted to do for 30 years. And it took me about 4 years to realize that that's not what I want to do.
In policing, most people think of police as, on the streets chasing down criminals. But what is a campus police officer or a police supervisor in your case? What do they really focus on day to day?
Well, my focus as a supervisor is, number one, to ensure that our students, staff, and faculty are safe while they're here on school grounds. But also, it goes beyond that. It's making sure that my staff members, my police officers, my cadets are on the same page with me, which is we got to be student-centered. This is not a city where you're going to have so many problems, domestic violence. You've got people here on this campus, students, for example, that maybe want to be a police officer in the future, but they want to, better themselves in life. And so I believe that, yes, we're here as a police department, but I see the police department here as another resource for our students, staff, and faculty.
Yeah.
Well, so that kind of ties into your whole thing about being a college police officer is more like a family-oriented thing, huh?
That's nice. Have you heard? I know it's only been your first 3 hours on Moorpark, but have you
insane.
heard any rumors about Moorpark kind of coming in and being like, "Oh, watch out for
what
this"?
were your
or-
expectations about Moorpark College?
Well, there's some that I can't say on the air. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I've actually had the pleasure to, in the 13 years that I've been with the district, I've had the pleasure to work at all 3 campuses.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
Yes. About 3 years ago, I was actually supervising Oxnard and coming out to Moorpark twice a week when Lieutenant Beckley was the acting chief. And prior to that, about 13 years ago, I actually started my first field training first field training program was here at Moorpark College.
Oh, really? So you're familiar with the campus?
Correct.
Awesome. That's really nice.
Familiar with the shenanigans, the Raider shenanigans.
Familiar with the gorilla and all the animals we have in the
When the lion breaks out, you're the first line of defense.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
We're gonna call you for sure.
We always talk about that, doing a story when the lion breaks out.
I have it. That's mine. I claimed it. So is there anything you really want to bring to Moorpark? Since you've been here before, you know a little bit about it. Is there something you look at Moorpark and you say, this is something I'd like to bring to this campus specifically?
Yes, actually, I want to bring not only my leadership to my staff, because it's really important that...
And this is the same staff that Beckley was supervising
Correct.
when he was here. Yeah.
Correct.
You're not bringing in an entirely new staff.
No, everybody's new. I actually know all of them. Half of the officers I've trained in the past.
Oh, really? Cool.
Correct. So what I want to bring to this campus is I want to open the line of communication with our staff, with the student, with our faculty.
We would appreciate that.
Yeah. I want to make
As the
sure...
reporters on campus, we would appreciate that.
Right. I want to make sure that students and anybody on campus can come up to an officer and say, hey, how you doing today? And have a small talk. I believe that right now with everything else that's going around the world, this is a time where police officers need to maybe improve or do a better job in opening those line of communication.
Reach out more.
Reach out, yeah, exactly. And we can do it here because most of the people here on this campus, they want to talk to you.
Yeah.
They're not criminals. They're people that want to succeed in life. And we have to take that opportunity or advantage to talk to somebody, I tell my guys, we need to make a positive impact to somebody, on somebody's person today and every day. Whether it's a smile, a hello, and it goes long ways.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's really important too, because sometimes people just aren't comfortable going up to a police officer and telling them that. But by having that line of communication with each other, it can prevent a lot of problems in the future.
Exactly, and it's been proven that when you have a tight community, for example, here at the college, a tight communication, people are more inclined to report crimes.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember Lieutenant Romero. He was a nice guy. He took the time to say hi to me. You know what? Let me call him, or let me call his people, because this doesn't look right. So I believe, not only being friendly and having that communication, but also it helps to prevent crime, and it helps people more inclined to report crimes.
That's true. I've seen that before, where it's when you feel comfortable with someone, just in sort of any case, any situation, if you feel comfortable with someone, you're more apt to talk to them, more apt to tell them about what's going on. And
Correct. Yeah.
This sounds great. Sounds more like you're coming back here, coming home, than stepping in and taking over.
Yeah.
It's really nice to know that you have this already standing relationship with not only our officers, but our campus at large.
Yep. And that's my whole intention, is to be here and to give it 110%. And implement some of the things that I've done at Oxnard, at Ventura, that I know have worked. I'm not going to implement things that I know they don't work. We're going to come
Can
here
you give
and
us an example, anything?
like community policing. I know community policing works. No matter where you go, you got to build that trust.
Yeah.
It takes the officers, it takes a supervisor as a leader, to go out there and walk around, not just drive around.
Yeah.
Walk around, say hi to people. So kind of things like that.
Well, thank you so much, Lieutenant Romero.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If you see
Thank you
Lieutenant
for
Romero
everything.
on campus, say hello to him. Reach out.
Share a joke.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, share a joke with this
Okay,
guy.
Before he came in, we were all laughing about tons of
yeah.
stuff, and then we all tried to tone it down.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Romero. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you guys for having me, and you guys can invite me anytime.
You're listening to 1015 KMCJ, Moorpark College Jams. I'm Steven Suarez, and this is the Student Voice on Air, a program about what's happening here at Moorpark College. Let's turn it to Andrew and Francisco for the latest updates on the Moorpark Raiders campus sports.
What's up, Steven? Thank you for that emphatic introduction.
You got it. Sports are fun.
Well, he is happy because our Denver Broncos got that W this past weekend against your Chargers, Andrew.
Boom.
Whatever, it's all good. It's all good. Season's not over. But anyway, turning things towards Moorpark College. As we talked about last week, our football team embarked on rivalry week, playing at Ventura College. Unfortunately, guys, we came up short. It was the 9th straight loss for us against our rivals.
This was the Citrus Cup, right?
Exactly. We played them in the Citrus Cup this past Saturday, October 29th. We played okay. Unfortunately, we came up a little bit short, 42-28. Our record now sits at 3-5 overall, 1-2 in conference. we're on a 2-game losing streak after that big homecoming win to start conference off against Bakersfield. But let me tell you guys a little bit about this past game. So looking at offensive side of things for our Raiders, we weren't too shabby. We scored a touchdown in every single quarter, scoring 7 points in every quarter, finishing with 28 points total. But if we look at Ventura College, that's where we see the big difference. They scored a touchdown in every single quarter just like us. However, in the second quarter, they got 3 touchdowns, outscored us by 14 points, yes, in the second quarter. And at the end of the day, Francisco, hey, it only takes that one quarter, right?
Yeah, sometimes it only takes that one play to decide the game, but 3 touchdowns in one quarter?
Exactly. So our defense, as you can assume, was not too hot in that quarter, but hey, I want to look at some positives about our defense here. We got 4 total takeaways, which is pretty unusual for any team, any level.
Right.
4 takeaways, that's something to be proud of. However, unfortunately, we can't give up 3 touchdowns in one quarter and expect to come away with a win. But we can turn things around. We only have 2 more games this regular season. We are playing at home this Saturday, November 5th at 1 p.m. against Cerritos College. So let's see if we can do something about this record. Maybe if we go undefeated the rest of the way out, we can actually finish over 500 in conference
and get that solid league record.
Exactly. So Francisco, I know looking at women's soccer side of things, you have a bit more positive news for us.
Yeah, easy win for our Raiders. Our women's soccer team got a 5-1 victory against Oxnard. So basically in the beginning of the game, Oxnard scored early.
Oh, right? They scored first?
Yeah, they scored first,
okay,
which is unusual for a score like this. So they came out to a big start off, scored the first goal. However, a little over a quarter into the game, Moorpark College decided to turn on their jets.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, they got that momentum going. So in the 27th minute, sophomore forward Bria Pilkington scored to tie the game. So the score is 1-1, right? 13 minutes later after that, sophomore defender, so our defense got into this the goal celebration as well. Paulina Friedel squeezed one in right before half to go up 2-1. 2-1 in the overall score. So you want to have that momentum going into halftime. You got that lead.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's always big having the lead going into the locker room for everyone's morale, everything. Heading back into that second half.
The celebration didn't end there as they scored 3 goals in the second half, which ended up in 5 minutes after the second half. In the 50th minute, Maddie Murray, who is a sophomore in the forward position, scored another goal for this game. The scoring frenzy was not over there. In the 57th minute, freshman midfielder Danny Bogus scored to make the Raiders up 4-1. So, and it did not stop there. They got their last and final goal of the game to get that little cherry on top of that nice, sweet victory. In the 70th minute by Taylor Beal, who is a freshman midfielder, and ended the game with a 5-1 overall score.
Dang, and so with that big win, our Raiders record moves to 10-3-4 overall, staying undefeated, a perfect 6-0 here in conference, huh?
Yeah, and they definitely they're rolling, dude.
And Francisco, keep in mind, this team started 0-2-2, so we've seen a huge turnaround from our Raiders out there. And the frenzy does not stop, as we can see our Raiders play 2 games this week. That's today, November 1st, at Cuesta College. And if you want to check them out at home, they are playing on the 4th at home versus Allen Hancock. Let's see if our Raiders can stay undefeated. So moving on, finally, we can talk about my personal favorite sport. I'm sure it's Francisco's favorite sport as well.
Yes, sir.
We are talking about, drum roll, basketball, guys. Last week we talked about women's basketball team, and here today we are going to be spotlighting our men's basketball team. For those who don't remember, we had a very, very, very successful season last year. We were 2016 conference champs, finished with an overall record of 20-9. And hey, we hosted our first home playoff game in 10 years.
Wow.
That's definitely an amazing accomplishment. Head coach Gerred Link, he brought home honors of Western State Conference Coach of the Year for 2016. He is back to lead the Raiders on the court for his 3rd straight season. And with us in the studio today, it is my pleasure to welcome the man, the myth, the legend, head coach Gerred Link. Thank you very much for joining us today, Coach Link.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So, Coach, this is not your first coaching gig, correct?
Correct. No, this is my 3rd.
Where else have you coached at?
I started at Sonoma State University and then UC San Diego right before here.
All right, so some big universities. What have you noticed to be the biggest difference between coaching community college players and players over at a 4-year?
Oh man, starting heavy right away. Huh? I'd say, one of the great thing about the 4-year, about like a 4-year university, is that you have juniors and seniors. So here, once they're a sophomore, they're like ready to really help you. They get them right where you want to be, right where they're ready to help you athletically, academically, like as a person. They're like ready to go, ready to lead, and then you lose them to the next place.
Oh, that's true.
So that's been kind of tough, is just some of that like maturity, kind of trying to build the culture. And a lot of our athletes, they're here for a reason, whether it's academically, athletically, but just trying to get everybody on the same page can be tough sometimes. So.
All right, so me and Francisco, we weren't here last year, so this is our first semester. But so I was looking at some of the scores from last season, and it seems to me like you guys put up a lot of points. There was a game where you put up 103 points. I think it was against Santa Barbara City College. You had a couple high 90s, a couple high 80s. However, you've lost a lot of your offensive power. Like guard Larry Bush has graduated. That was 18 points per game. How is the team this year going to be able to keep producing offensively with the loss of these key guys?
Yeah. Well, first of all, welcome both of you to Moorpark
Thank
College.
you.
But no, you're right. I mean, we lost quite a bit in the last year. I mean, I think 7 of our top 8 pretty much we lost scoring-wise. So, I mean, you speak of Larry. Larry did a great job for us, led us in scoring. But you have other players, Joshua Brooks, Justin Eisen, Jeremiah Gray, a few other guys that were averaging over 10 points a game also. So you take all them out of the picture. It's big shoes to fill for our new group. But we're a different team this year. We're not the same as we were last year. I think we have a little bit more skill level. We shoot it a little better from outside. Really? But now we just got to kind of figure out ways to. That's kind of part of the fun of coaching. It's a new team.
It's like putting together a puzzle, huh?
100%, and trying to figure out like what can we do to put the new guys in the best position to have success. And so I think we shoot it well. Like we're gonna have to do a few things differently. Yeah. Defensively, we're not quite as big as we were last year, and we have 11, 18-year-olds. So last year's team, we had a bunch of sophomores. This year, we only have 2 sophomores. So
you guys are definitely younger this year.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely younger. And with that, we're gonna, we'll see. We'll see on the Thursday in the first game, kind of where we're going.
Right.
So speaking of first game, Thursday at home versus Riverside College. How do you feel about the team's preparation up to this point?
Yeah, I think our preparation's been good. I mean, I think we. We're ready to go. It's tedious. It's tough when you play against the same guys every day in practice.
Yeah.
So these guys have been working night in, day in, day out against the guy that they're supposed to compete with, and now we get to kind of put the same jersey on, go against one kind of united foe, I would say, one united opponent, and. But it's good. We're excited. I think our preparation's been good. I think we're ready for it. It's going to be good for us to see where we're at, give us about a caliber, like just where are we right now? Are we ready to go? What do we need to work on more? And from a coaching standpoint, having young players, it allows you to see like who's ready, like right now, who's ready to go, who wants this, and so it'll be good. Right. We're excited. I'm excited for it, and it's always a good feeling when the season starts for us, for the coaches.
So you've already had 2 seasons locked up. And your record speaks for itself. Do you think that because you were once a college athlete, it's easier for you to communicate and bond with your players because you know exactly what it's like to be on the other end of being in the team?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a level of relatability there from being an athlete, and they know, or at least have some knowledge that I've been through similar grind that they've been through. So I think that's there, but. I think another thing that helps is that I'm 31 years old. I think that helps. It's not somebody that's really totally withdrawn. It wasn't that long ago. They like to tell me how long ago it was, but it really wasn't that long ago.
Right.
When I was in their shoes.
You were playing up till 2008 at Sonoma State, right?
So it wasn't that long ago. So I think that I think that allows you to kind of be there with them. And my assistant's also the same. My assistant coach he's a younger guy, played. But absolutely there's a respect level, I think, for when you're, like for me as an athlete, when I was playing, the coach that, like our coaches that had played, it's, just the feel is different, all that. So we've just been fortunate, though, the last 2 years I've had good players. So that helps mask your coaching deficiencies.
So like we were just talking about, this is the start of your 3rd season here at Moorpark. What's the most important thing you've learned over the past 2 years from leading our Raiders out on the court?
I think consistency. I think, trying to have a consistent approach every day with them. Like the first thing I learned, the most important thing is anything's possible. Like any game is winnable, especially at this level. There's so many things. Like if we can create the culture, like the accountability, the consistency of what we do, control those things, who we are, the controllables, really anything is possible. And I think last year's group kind of proved that, yeah, they had some talent, but also they had to come together. They had to control the things they could, and they ended up winning the conference. They did a great job. So.
Yeah.
Dang, that's awesome. So lastly, before we let you go, I know you got practice soon. What is the ultimate goal? What is your expectations for the squad this season?
Oh, I'd love to win another conference championship.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the barrier that you want to put yourself up there and hope you can get there. So.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Link. Got everyone, check out first game Thursday, November 3rd versus Riverside College.
Best of luck to you guys this season.
Thank you.
Have a great practice.
This is 1015 KMCJ, Moorpark College Jams. I'm Steven Suarez, and this is the Student Voice on Air. Up next is Entertainment News with Casey Ahern.
Well, thanks, Steven.
Award-winning Casey.
Ooh, we're adding that.
So for entertainment this week, let's take it off campus first. We have a stargazing event at Rancho Sierra Vista in Newbury Park. That is on November 5th.
That's right where me and Francisco live. It's a beautiful place.
So nice, right? Your guys' neck of the woods.
Exactly.
Yeah, I really recommend this. It's just a beautiful scenery out there.
Yeah, it's going to be, you can join Focus Astronomy for a night of stargazing. You can learn about the night sky, constellations, planets, galaxies.
With Casey, will there be telescopes provided, or do you need to bring your own telescope?
Telescopes will be there.
Yep, telescopes will be there, and viewing will be from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. You want to make sure it's dark before you're trying to look up at the stars.
And something that Focus Astronomy really emphasized on their website was to dress warmly for the occasion, obviously, because it's at night, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So that's jackets, gloves. Make sure you guys dress warm. It gets cold over there. It's right near the ocean, so dress accordingly.
Yeah, so if you guys plan to see Andrew and Francisco out there, Saturday, November 5th, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., stargazing at Rancho Sierra Vista in Newbury Park. Also off campus, we have the Calabasas Classic Run, which hosts a 5K, 10K, and a 1-mile fun run for the active types.
So not me.
So that's on Sunday, November 6th at 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And that's off Civic Center Way in Calabasas. It's pretty much a timed 5K, 10K run course and the 1-mile fun run, which explores the beautiful roads of Calabasas. And it's a fundraiser for Community Center Alliance, which is a nonprofit, and they're organizing the race as a fundraiser for programs, activities, and service provided at the Agora Hills and Calabasas Community Center. This is competitive and non-competitive, so whatever drives you, you can run in this. So that's Sunday, November 6th, and you can register at calabasasclassicrun.com today. Also, for those who are hungry,
I'm hungry. I want this.
Yes.
This is me.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is
the event
more
I'm
like
Waffle
always gonna get to.
Wednesday.
Yay.
So that's
Waffle Wednesday.
Thousand Oaks
You pancake
at the
lovers,
courtyard.
Get out.
At the courtyard at Westlake on Thousand Oaks Boulevard. That's November 9th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. I know you guys will see all of us there.
Oh my God.
And that's a fundraiser for the Ross Group, which is a locally based mortgage company. And, at this event, you can not only enjoy waffle sliders with fried chicken from Chick-fil-A.
Ooh, Chick-fil-A?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep. And then also they have a beer and wine garden, a coffee
They
lounge.
have a beer and wine garden and waffles.
Yep, so it's
Why is
something
not
for everybody.
everyone go? Everyone go to this. Everyone.
They also have Los Robles Children's Choir singing holiday songs, Santa, 6 snow
Ooh,
machines,
Santa.
and it's supporting Ventura County needy children with Christmas gifts.
And so what is this event about? Like, is the food free, or what's the situation here?
Yeah, so
It's
the
free Waffle Wednesday.
The food is free. However, the reason the Ross Group is putting this together is because they will be having an on-site toy shop in which people who attend for free and eat the waffles can purchase a gift that goes directly towards needy children in Ventura County.
Okay,
so
there's
it
the
does have a
fundraiser aspect.
greater importance to it than simply waffles.
Oh,
But
sweet. I mean, I love waffles, but I was like, okay, this is a fundraiser, right?
And you're also helping out children who probably won't receive a Christmas gift this year. So, I just not help them out at the same time while you're getting free waffles.
Waffle.
Yep, and for more info, contact Todd Ross at tross@therossgroup.com or Waffle Wednesday CV. Also off campus, we have a local concert featuring Chris Allen, and it's a free concert at the Oaks Mall. So Chris Allen is the American Idol Season 8 winner, and he specializes in pop rock, alternative rock, acoustic rock, soul, pretty much kind of
A wide
very,
array
yeah.
of talents.
Will there
for
be
sure.
waffles?
There will not be
Sadly,
waffles,
no.
unfortunately.
No, but there is a Wetzel's Pretzels around the corner where Francisco Molina will be at.
Oh.
And this is a free event to kick off his new album, Something About Christmas. This show is on November 5th at the Oaks Mall, so be sure to check it out. On campus, we have quick little announcements. We have the Forensic Showcase on November 29th and 30th at 7:30 p.m. in the Performing Arts Center. So the forensics team is the debate team on campus, so I urge you to check it out. They're very talented. Steven Suarez is a part of that.
Yeah, I'll be there.
You just sound so excited about this.
I mean, it's a fun event. We really just get to showcase what the team does, but yeah, go do it. It's really cool.
but yeah. All right.
Then Theater Arts has their Student 1 Acts on November 29th and
These are fun.
December 1st
These are really
Yeah,
through
these
10th.
are fun. These are awesome. I remember seeing them in high school, and they're always a enjoyable time for sure.
Yep, so those are, again, November 29th and then December 1st through the 10th at 7:30 p.m. in the Performing Arts Center. So Speaking Movement is a dance showcase. It's a recital doubling as both an opportunity for students to see what the dance culture is about, as well as a hands-on lesson in dance production for the people involved. So this is November 17th through 19th at 8 p.m. and November 20th at 2 p.m. in the Performing Arts Center. Tickets are $10 to $15. They range, and you can purchase them at moorparkcollege.edu/PAC or call the box office at 805-378-1485. And with us today to talk about Speaking Movement, which is coming up in November, is Director of Dance VIivian Goldes, who is also producing the show and choreographing her own piece, and Jared Cardiel, who's an 18-year-old dance major who is also in Speaking Movement. How are you guys today?
Hi, good, thank you.
Hi, I'm good.
Good. So how has preparation been so far for the show?
It's been good. It's been a process, and we only meet once a week. We meet from 9 to 5.
Wow.
Actually 10 to 5 once a week. So it's a lot of work condensed into one day, but it's going really well.
So it's
Yeah.
a lot of out of the classroom work for, I guess, the students to be practicing.
Yeah, like we usually meet up from time to time, just like talk about like what choreography did we add on to, or like just refresh our memories from like what we've done.
You guys may be the only other organization on campus besides the newspaper that works from 10 to 5.
Oh, yeah. And then some.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll stay. They'll even come in early if we need the time,
Yeah.
or stay later because, we want to make it
You guys want to join the journalism program?
work. You should. You should recruit more dancers.
You already got the work ethic
We're
for
hard
it.
workers, yeah.
Now, Vivian, this is the first show you're directing, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So how does that feel? How's that been?
It's been challenging. Because I'm an adjunct faculty here, so this will be my 11th year at Moorpark College.
Oh, my
but
goodness.
Robert Salas, who was the chair of the department, who was on sabbatical this year, he approached me and said, this is your time.
It's your time.
Because he usually does. He's not here this year, so he's like, you need to do this. It's good for you. So it's been a challenge, but he really helped me out just setting up everything, because there's a lot of paperwork and things I never knew about, other than more than just directing or choreographing. There's, I've hired a guest choreographer, a guest company from Florida coming in. So I had to do all the paperwork, all the request forms, all that kind of stuff that normally the full-time faculty take care of. So I was able to learn all that, and it's been good. So
That's nice that it's also like you get to manage it, but also
Be a part of it.
Be a part of it
Yeah.
and almost learn
Yeah.
as a student, kind of.
yeah,
too.
so I'm learning that, but I'm also being a part of it and also having my artistic input as a director. Because usually I've been assistant directing these shows for quite a lot, for many years. So this time it's more my vision fully, instead of just kind of going with whoever's directing the show.
So what does that mean for what people are going to see at the show?
Well, I had my theme. We like to keep it open because each choreographer has their own what they want to show. But my theme this year was really it's combining visual art with performance art. So a few of the choreographers are using artists as inspirations for their work. So my artist is Keith Haring, who was a street pop artist in New York City in the 1980s, and he became very popular and his stuff is all over the place, but in museums, but he was really about having art for the people, for anybody to see art and experience it. And I kind of tie it made into a community college. So education for everybody. People can afford to come here and get a good education, just like Keith Haring wanted people to see his art. You didn't have to go into a fancy museum or whatever. So that's my idea. But we also have another guest choreographer who her inspiration was Gustav Klimt, an Austrian artist, and his paintings. So it's a lot of variety of visual art, performance art, and also we reached out to the music department here at Moorpark, and so some of the student musicians they have a jazz band on their own, and they're going to be playing on the stage before the show. So as people are coming in and chatting, they'll be playing music. And so it's, live music, experiencing live music instead of just recorded music.
Nice. So the whole show is sort of an experience instead of sitting down just watching a show.
Instead of just coming to see dance, you're seeing music, you're seeing art. I also reached out to a local artist, and actually her husband works here at full time in the ceramics department.
Who's
and
that?
She's Jerry. His wife is Tina Frugoli, and she's going to have her art displayed in the lobby before the show. So, yeah.
That's cool. And Jared, what's it been like for you? Are you in VIivian's piece?
Yes, I am. I am. The songs that we're doing is Shout, and it's fun. I get to see so many different people do so many different things. It's an amazing experience. I love all the teachers. I love the choreographers. I love everyone that's there right now. It's like we're becoming a big family.
This is Jared's first semester, so
yes.
it's his first experience with this.
And have you danced before?
Yes, I have. I've been dancing for almost 14 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Nice.
What'd you do for the other 4 years?
Learned to dance.
Yeah, and we get a range of experienced dancers have been dancing all their life to beginners, but this class is M55. It's a production class, so they learn everything. They dance, they work on costumes, they do everything, all the aspects they learn about it.
Jared, so tell me, what's it been like not only working on the stage but behind the stage? Also, I know you guys have to make sure your own costumes on check and all that.
Yes,
stuff.
from time to time we have to. There's quick changes that we literally had to run backstage and get into another costume, and it's so hard just to make sure that everything is there, because it is hard for especially us as dancers that people don't move our stuff or we can't find it, and it's just been so crazy.
What kind of costumes do you wear?
For me, I'm just wearing pants and just a tank top or a shirt. That's basically it.
Oh, okay.
Just something nice and formal, especially for the gentlemen. We have to wear something nice to present ourselves.
If I was a dancer, I'd want to wear one of those feather outfits with a large headdress. And the
Like Vegas?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would want to do. Yeah.
What? So you should audition next
Really loud
semester.
with my feathers. Yeah.
But we do have a costumer coming in. She has hand painted some of the costumes for our Gustav Klimt piece. So we have some really nice costumes in the
Nice.
show too.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, VIivian and Jared, thank you so much for being on today. And for those of you wanting to see Speaking Movement, again, it is November 17th through the 19th at 8 p.m. and November 20th at 2 p.m. in the Performing Arts Center. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
good luck
you.
on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you to Leslie Kivett, Francisco Molina, Andrew Mason, and Casey Ahern for keeping us informed. This has been the Student Voice on Air, a radio show and podcast written, hosted, edited, and produced by journalism and FTVM media students at Moorpark College. For additional news and information, please log on to the Student Voice webpage at StudentVoiceOnline.com. That's StudentVoiceOnline.com. I'm Steven Suarez. Thanks for listening and being informed. This is 101.5 KMCJ, Moorpark College Jams.